YZ viewers, hello and welcome to a new episode of our program Cultural Magazine, during which we're going to bring you the latest cultural events that are taking place in Egypt. Please stay tuned.
In commemoration of the 150th birth date of the famous Russian musician Sergei Rachmaninoff, the Cairo Symphony Orchestra presents a concert led by Maestro Ahmed Saidi, with the participation of soprano singers Dalia Farouk, tenor Amr Mifhat, baritone Rida Al-Wakil, and pianist Mohammad Shams, with the Capello Choir conducted and trained by Maya Jivanria at the Cairo Opera House Grand Theatre stage. The program includes a collection of Rachmaninoff's compositions, including the second piano and orchestra concerto, a symphony for choir, solitaire, and an orchestra entitled The Bells. It is noteworthy that Sergei Rachmaninoff was born in 1837 to a family of the nobility that sponsored music during the rule of the Russian Tsars. He was famous for his superior skill on playing the piano and the large size of his hands and the length of his fingers, so he was playing complex pieces. He settled in the United States after the Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 and never returned to his native land, Russia. He was distinguished by unique techniques and a romantic style influenced by Chopin, Liszt, and Tchaikovsky. Critics considered him one of the most important musicians of the 19th century. He composed in many classical forms and died in 1943 in Beverly Hills, California, and was buried in New York. The Hanagir Center for Arts at the Cairo Opera House, affiliated to the Cultural Production Affairs headed by director Khalid Galel, inaugurated a plastic art exhibition entitled 6D, with the participation of 5 medical professors from Cairo University and the plastic artist Dr. Safa Sharabi. The exhibition was inaugurated by the plastic artist Dr. Tahir Abdulazim, professor at the Faculty of Fine Arts, Hilwan University. Plastic artist Safa Sharabi participated in the exhibition with 15 paintings of different sizes. The exhibition was distinguished by displaying paintings that deal with landscape of the Bahariya oasis and Siwa, while others focus on portraits and human features that reflect human emotions. Safat Sharabi has participated in several local and international exhibitions and won many awards during her artistic career.
The Ministry of Culture is always keen on preserving heritage in Egypt, especially the artistic heritage, and in boosting the artistic movement in Egypt.
The Wahhabi concerts organized by the Cairo Opera House continue to commemorate the works of art presented by the musician of generations, the late Muhammad Abdul Wahab. The National Arab Music Ensemble recently presented a concert on the Arab Music Institute stage under the leadership of Maestro Hazim Al-Qasabgi. He composed the concert melodies, which were sung by the stars of the time of beautiful music and art. The members of the Arab Music Ensemble presented these melodies, including singers Ibrahim Ramadan, Hind Nahas, Ismail Sadiq, and Ines Izzeddin. The concert included a selection of compositions of the musician of generations, Abdul Wahab, which the late singer performed, as well as some of the songs he composed for stars of the time. Among these star singers were Kulthum, Nagat al-Saghira, Warda, Shadia, Layla Murad, Fairuz, Faiza Ahmed, Abdul Halim Hafiz, Wadia Safi, Muhammad Abdul Muttalib, and others.
Go
Abdul Wahab was dubbed the musician of generations because he was the most distinctive and influential Egyptian and Arab musician at this time, if not the most important. He was a musical legend whose brilliance of talent extended through different generations and times over the course of 7 decades. Musicians pay Abdul Wahab great respect and gratitude for the development and modernization that happened to music at his hands. Abdul Wahab's long career, which continued for several generations, his ability not to only exist, but also to influence new generations, and the musical progress that he brought about in all stages of his artistic career. It is worth noting that the series of the Wahhabi concerts come within the framework of the Opera House's role to enhance public artistic taste and introduce the pioneers and symbols of Arabic melodies. This comes in addition to introducing new generations of artistic heritage, which formed an important part of the history and conscience of the Egyptian and Arab people, and in commemoration of works of the generational musician Muhammad Abdul Wahab. It is noteworthy that the Arabic National Music Ensemble was founded in 1989 with the aim of collecting the Arab musical and lyrical heritage and representing it in an advanced academic and scientific manner so that new generations can learn about Arab musical heritage to preserve it from extinction.
The Cairo Opera House plays a significant role in the cultural movement that is taking place in Egypt.
The great maestro Nader Abbasi led a concert which was presented by the Cairo Symphony Orchestra on the Grand Theater at the Cairo Opera House. The concert presented the music and drama of King Oedipus and music between debauchery and dawn, accompanied by the Cairo Symphony Orchestra and the a cappella choir.
I mean, the orchestra which I conduct is always classical orchestra, most of the time, here in Egypt and outside of Egypt. So I do mainly opera, ballet, symphony concerts, but here in Egypt, I have to make lots of fusion between our music and the orchestra music. So I did a few concerts with Omar Khairat, which is also its orchestra music, but with an Arabic and Egyptian touch. And there is also something like Magda Rumi, because I did very few things with the Arabic music. But I did the project with Sahabat Saada, the 121 cinema, 123 cinema, Moody Imam, also film music, which I really love very much because it's very close to the Egyptian people. So I think it's really important if you are in our field in classical music to do some things touch Egyptian public. And as you know, even the mummies music and Kebash music also, it has of course lots of old Egyptian scales. So it was very touchy for the Egyptian and very simple people too. Even for New Year concerts, lots of conductors, they do react with the public, and I think this is very important because if you feel you are part of the concert and you get them into the stage with you, I think it makes the gap very short, so and very little. So I think it's very, very important to react to the people, and if you do something really with heart, it touched people, this for sure. I do love my job, and I did sing opera before. So if you really conduct singers, if you already studied singing and you sang before and you know the problems, where is it? And you have to support them, give them lots of courage, and you know, you make them feel good and comfortable. This is very important for opera singers, because opera singers is, I mean, the opera singing is very difficult. It's very stressful as a job. maybe people think this is like screaming and they don't understand, but it is really, it's all about muscles, about studying all the time, rehearsing all the time. It's not easy to get this kind of big voice without microphone. So this is about opera singing. So, and I do love the music for opera. I do love the drama. I like the stories. And for ballet, it's completely different. I do compose for ballet a lot. I did Maraya and Sekina, The Nile Brides, Between Dusk and Dawn, and lots of things for ballet because I do love dance. And when I conducted here the Nutcracker, for example, I felt it's part of me somehow. And of course, the music of Tchaikovsky, it's very touchy and very also close to the Egyptian because it's very oriental. So it's lovely, lovely to do ballet such like Nutcracker. With the classical music, you cannot change anything. Of course, you can add your personality in the piece, but everything is written already. So you have to respect a lot the composer, and you have to respect all the details that he wrote in the score. And this is the secret, actually, that you do what the composer really wants. You don't add from you add, okay, your personality, your culture, everything, but from what he wrote, you have to read it very carefully and then realize it for him. For Arabic music, it's different. And I do love classical music. Of course, this is my study, this is my main job, but I still like very much Egyptian music, but orchestrated, of course. If I listen to Kulthum and Abdul Wahab, this is something else. But if I do it myself, it has to be orchestrated, it has to be written for orchestra. So this is something else. The Cairo Opera House, of course, it's a very old culture from the 1870 when Verdi himself did Aida for Egypt. Of course, the first performance was not Aida, it was Rigoletto because Verdi didn't finish Aida yet at the time. So they opened with Rigoletto, and so it's a big tradition. And from the 60s, of course, they opened the Academy of Art. So the Academy of Art from the 60s until now, so you can imagine how many generations came out. And finally, because before it was only foreigners who came to Cairo to perform. And now it's all Egyptians, most of them Egyptians, in the ballet, in the orchestra. We have two orchestras. We have the Cairo Opera Orchestra, we have the Symphony Orchestra, we have the Opera Company, we have the ballet, we have like 3 or 4 ballet companies. Of course, we have the Arabic music, so it's a culture center, more than a real opera house, which is very good for Egypt, to have a culture center who show, of course, and it shows, of course, the whole world. It's like a window to the world for Egyptians, and for foreigners, they come to see and to hear the Egyptians performing and also composing. So you can hear also Egyptian composers, traditional and contemporary music, which is very important because nobody knows that we have all these orchestras here. The choir, we have lots of choirs, and we do all kinds of program. Contemporary music, romantic, classic, baroque, Renaissance, everything at the Cairo Opera House. We have nearly like 2-3 performances a day because we have so many concert hall, the Chamber Music Concert Hall, the big concert hall, so the Opera House, so the outside. So it's a lot of activities is going on here. And I think, and I hope, that always tourists, when they come to Egypt, they need to see the calendar, the cultural calendar, to come and to see during the night, because they have maybe nothing to do during the evening, so they can come to the Opera House to see what we have and what we perform.
Well, with this, my dear viewers, we come to the end of this episode of our program, The Culture Magazine. I hope you've enjoyed being with me. Please wait for me in the next episode. Until then, it's goodbye.